This world is harsh. It seems like sometimes life throws every single obstacle and challenge our way, and sometimes it feels like we can't do anything about it. Even just the earth itself is hostile in a way. Hurricanes and tornadoes rip apart neighborhoods, fires burn homes and crops to the ground, tsunamis cause absolute havoc. It seems that even without the hindrances to our lives caused by other people, intentional or not, that the world itself is against us. However, despite our circumstances, we can find comfort in this world. We can find comfort in the isolation and depravity of this world, and I think there's something really special in that comfort. I think there's something really beautiful there, and that's partly why I love games designed to comfort people that take place in a hostile world. I love games that are harsh, cruel, and oftentimes uncaring, but for some reason over time they become comforting. And I don't mean an Animal Crossing kind of comfort, because let's be fair, that game is stressful when you owe your organs to some stupid raccoon, but I mean a game that doesn't change to make you feel better, but rather you change your perception of it. A game that for one reason or another you begin to feel like this strange and hostile environment is something you can call home. And that can't be right? When there is something dangerous, we tend to run away from it, whether that be in real life or in a video game, and call it anything other than home. So why do some of us call it that? Why is it that in some of the most dangerous and cruel situations in video games, we tend to find comfort? Is it because we don't truly feel that hostility due to it being a game? Do games change their difficulty to make the player feel more at home? Or is it genuinely something in us that changes our perception of these hostile worlds? Is there a reason why so many people look at these cruel and challenging games and find them comforting? And so today I want to explain what I mean by comfort through hostility in video games to those unfamiliar, and for a couple of you guys out there who know what I'm talking about, discuss something all too familiar. Let's talk about getting your balls stepped on. Difficulty in games is a strangely difficult aspect to nail down. Make it too easy, people call it child's play, and make it too difficult and you got yourself another Dark Souls. And this leads to most developers creating a difficulty system, something any player can choose at the beginning of their adventure to gauge how their experience will be. However, many games with a hostile world do not give you that choice. There is no difficulty option for these games. There are no easy modes. It is what it is, and you decide if you are going to persevere through the challenges the game will put you through. And that's why for many people, Souls games are so addicting. They are relentlessly cruel, not only with their difficulty but also their mechanics, meaning that to overcome an area or a boss in a Souls game, you don't just have to hit hard enough to win, you have to learn attack patterns, enemy behavior, and when they are vulnerable and when they are not. And to learn this information, you will die and suffer and be put through mental agony for several hours to understand this information. However, when you inevitably land that blow, sever that enemy, or even come out victorious, that feeling of accomplishment is why so many people drive themselves to go through the absolute mental torture of seeing a certain screen so many times. However, sometimes in other games, it's not just the inhabitants of the world as much as it can be the world itself. Both Hollow Knight and Celeste's difficulty come more from the world you explore and the systems that are built within it than the enemies and creatures you will find inhabiting it. Take Hollow Knight for example here. Many times there is an easy route available, but more often than not it requires an ability you do not have access to yet, meaning you are forced to take the longer, more grueling way filled with enemies that want your blood to paint their home in environments both hostile and cruel, leading to you dying many times on your way to the desired location. However, both Dark Souls and Hollow Knight share the common trope of where when you die, you lose all of your currency, and if you don't retrieve that soul and die again before you can get back, it's gone forever. It does not matter how much you had or how valuable it was. And that adds even more stress onto your plate. And granted, not every game does this, but many games similar to this have something that is looming over you constantly. Whether that be the fear of dying again, which in turn wastes more time, losing your valuable money and suddenly embodying Mr. Krabs, or an entire countdown to when the universe itself will end, Stress seems to be a major component to these hostile games, and that stress along with the difficulty of the game establishes the harsh reality that you do not belong here. This world was never meant for you to explore. This life wasn't one designed for you to live. And yet even after all of that, we find something that lets us breathe. A big component to these difficult games is that brief moment of peace amidst the chaos. In Hollow Knight, there are areas with benches, and the first time you find these, you learn that they are pretty vital to your experience. They heal you, you're able to swap charms, which is this game's version of power-ups. You can update your map and the game automatically saves. And all the while, an isolating, lonely sounding song plays in the background. When I found my first bench, I was almost unnerved with how quiet it was, with how non-aggressive this world became. This kingdom didn't feel like home to me yet. I felt more at home risking my life and killing things than I was sitting on this bench listening to the song, simply because I was more accustomed to killing things than I was sitting still in a video game. So I found myself often sitting on it, healing up, updating my map, switching out my charms quickly, and then continuing on my journey. I didn't want that feeling of loneliness crippling around me, especially since I started playing during the best year of our lives. However, over the course of the game, my perception of these benches changed. I found myself taking a breather here. I found myself not just relieved that I found a bench in this world, but also felt like it was time for me to untense myself and relax. I found myself becoming comfortable with the isolation. I found myself becoming comfortable with the fact that I was alone. I found myself often thinking about my own life and goals on these benches, and what I find funny is the song that plays while you're sitting on these benches is called Reflection. It's like the game was telling me that this is a time for you to unwind and think not only about your journey in the game, but your journey in the real world, in your own hostile reality. And if you look at other games such as Dark Souls, Celeste, or even Outer Wilds, you'll notice that whether they be checkpoints, fires, or the end of the universe entirely, there's something to take comfort in. Sitting by a fire as you realize the world around you is cruel, but that is okay because you are still here. Looking at the sun as it transforms into a supernova and destroys the entire universe as you have this bittersweet and nihilistic feeling as you witness it. Looking out at the danger around you and realizing that there are more challenges up ahead, but you've come this far, so why not a little more? And I don't know how to explain this, but it's almost like the promise of peace to come with these moments gives us comfort in the moments where the hostility overwhelms us, where those challenges seem impossible. However, nevertheless, we still find comfort in these worlds. We find ourselves at peace in the chaos, and what I love is that every time I play a game like this, it reminds me of the world we live in today. Unlike comfort games, not everything is happy and cheerful. Sometimes to feel true comfort, you have to go through hardships, many of which come from people, many of which come from our own world. This world seems like it wants us dead. However, so does Hollow Knight's kingdom, so does Dark Souls' world, so does the universe of Outer Wilds. However, like we do in our day-to-day lives, we still manage to find comfort in these worlds. We understand the hostility surrounding us, and yet we still find ourselves moving forward, moving through those challenges, moving through those hardships. And I think that the clear hostility that many of these games present is designed for us to chuck our controller across the room, but also for us to slowly realize how important it is for us to do so. We cannot understand peace and comfort without hardships and hostility. Everything just is. And I enjoy seeing games that can implement that feeling of comfort in hostile worlds. I think that's really awesome. Hello there, friendly strangers on the internet. Thank you so much for watching. I want to apologize for how long this one took. My life has totally been busy, and the reason for the wait definitely wasn't because I couldn't figure out a video idea. So thank you guys for being patient with me on this one. I deeply appreciate it. I've been slowly losing my JoJo virginity, still playing through what should be the last hours of Tears of the Kingdom. Dear Lord, this game is huge. And oh yeah, Attack on Titan is very good. Anyways, thank you for watching this to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care of others, and I will see you next time.